The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Being a Toronto Blue Jays fan right now is torture. It is cruel and unusual punishment because over the last 8 years, the Toronto Blue Jays have been trying to win baseball games. They've been trying to win the World Series. In 2015 and 2016, they went to the playoffs and they had magical runs. 2015 especially, it was spearheaded by a summer where Alex Anthopoulos sold the farm halfway through with a team that was 500, but he truly believed in them, and then they go on a magical run to the American League Championship Series, and they fall short there against the Kansas City Royals. And then the next year, Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins come in. A lot of the team is still there, and they got championship World Series aspirations once again. 2016, they go on a nice little run once again. They lose again in the American League Championship Series. And since then, the Toronto Blue Jays have not won a single playoff game. And Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro, who have been here for that entire tenure since 2016, nearly 10 years now, have been chasing that the entire time. And we've reached a point where they've won no playoff games in that span. Obviously, if you don't win any games, you can't win a series, you can't win a World Series, you can't win anything. And they have won nothing. And now the losing on the field has manifested itself into losing just in spectacular fashion off the field, in the media, in the baseball world zeitgeist, where the last 14 months of the Toronto Blue Jays could not be more, I don't know if laughable is the correct word, but it's some combination of laughable and embarrassing, and everybody feels sorry for us, but is also dunking on us. We know we are the bridesmaid. We are never getting to the altar, and we are simply being used time and time again. In the last 14/15-ish months, as the Shohei Ohtani contract kind of kicked off this thing about the Blue Jays front office never being able to sign any contract ever. Yeah, we're second in the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes. Apparently, probably second, probably never even close to second because the Dodgers were always number one. Anyways, we get used in those negotiations, and we're pushed and we're pushed and we're pushed by the media, and they're telling us the Blue Jays are so close to signing Ohtani. Follow his plane, and a Dragon's Den is on it. Actually, don't bother following that plane at all. And Ohtani signs with the Dodgers. We play out the rest of the 24 MLB season, and the Blue Jays end up last in the American League East. And that's a season where the Blue Jays, like the last 8 years, had World Series aspirations. They had one of the best hitters in the game in Bo Bichette. They had another one of the best hitters in the game in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They had a nice little pitching staff that was very good in 2023. They bring, everybody's there. We're going at it again, and they finish last. And then we get to this offseason. Juan Soto's the big fish. The dude's just playing in New York, man. He's electric in the World Series. He's got the Jays. The Jays were after Ohtani. If they can't get Ohtani, they'll get Juan Soto. And it comes down to, apparently, by all the insiders, it's Ohtani. It's Ohtani again. And the Blue Jays are right there. And the Blue Jays just fall short. And he decides to pick the Mets. And then we get a couple months later, not how many months are we removed from that? Two months? You feel like a couple weeks even. Rōki Sasaki. We explained it last time we talked here. Rōki Sasaki is in negotiations with the Blue Jays and the Padres and the Dodgers. And I thought he was going to sign with the Padres because I didn't want to believe what everybody was saying about the Dodgers already having a deal with him, and all the front office is saying, yeah, it's going to be the Dodgers again. I was like, no, it can't be the Dodgers again. No way they would do this again. It won't be the Jays, though, because the Jays never end up winning this. It'll be the Padres. And I was wrong about the Padres, and it turned out it was the Dodgers again. But this isn't about the Dodgers. This is about the Blue Jays falling short and believing that this time was different, that Rōki Sasaki was going to be the big-name free agent, even though he's not really a free agent and he's international amateur. He's got to sign the international amateur window. He's going to be the one to sign with the Toronto Blue Jays. They're going to get the big fish that's out there. And this time, The Blue Jays will not fail. In this front office, Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins believed. They believed that they were going to get this done, as I guess you should. You should believe in yourself if you think you're going to do it, but you should also understand reality. And the reality of the situation was they were never close to signing Roki Sasaki because we've got the reports out from all of the MLB insiders that people within the league now want to investigate the Dodgers because everybody's pretty sure that they tampered with Roki Sasaki a long time ago, and this deal was always seal signed and delivers for the Dodgers. That's a little bit of the point here, but the main point is that the front office of the Toronto Blue Jays were so out to lunch on their actual reality of signing Roki Sasaki that they went and traded for an $11.8 million contract by virtue of a player named Miles Straw from the Cleveland Guardians in order to take on $2 million extra in international bonus money. So that happened this morning, about 6 hours before Roki Sasaki officially announced his decision to sign with the Dodgers. The Blue Jays traded with the Cleveland Guardians for outfielder Miles Straw. They did that. That allowed them to acquire $2 million, some cash, $2 million in international bonus money, which they could then hopefully use to give to Roki Sasaki and give him that extra dough so that he would sign with them. But it also, in order to acquire that, they had to take on the anchor of a contract in Miles Straw. And this is such a blunder. And I don't know if I can emphasize how much of a blunder this is. We're going to have to go over this and over this and over this forever. Because the front office believed that they were just $2 million in bonus money short of signing this dude. And if they understood Sasaki's real motives, they would know that the money was never the thing here. Because that's not, in the reality of where we exist, he didn't care about the money because the money was capped. The money was capped. The money could only be so much, and you bring in $2 million, it clearly wasn't a motivation for Sasaki. And I talked heavily in the last episode about how Sasaki wasn't going to sign with the Jays, about how the Jays keep getting used in these negotiations. And I got some feedback, and they're like, okay, if the money's capped in this situation, how are the Jays getting used? You can get used in different ways. The Jays, in this particular instance, are being used as the shield so that the Dodgers don't look like they've been tampering with Roki Sasaki. And I truly believe that. These narratives that are being pushed that the Jays were in it, the Padres were in it, the Reds were in it, they need those leaks so that everything is off of the Dodgers because they clearly had a deal with Sasaki done before the window for negotiation could be allowed in the international signing window. Because there's a window you can only talk to these players and sign deals with them. And it's very clear to everybody who's reporting on the story now and coming out of the woodwork and talking about these deals that the Dodgers knew this was going to happen, and everybody in the front offices kind of knew. They're like, yeah, the Dodgers kind of have this deal. And the Jays, with their clueless front office, fell for it. And Roki Sasaki's camp got the Jays to the point where they truly believed they had a chance with him, that they went out and acquired this from the Guardians, who took advantage of the Jays, who were desperate. The thing about talking about this right now, after everything is unfolded, is that we have hindsight. And in the moment, that deal this morning looks really cool. Like the Jays took on this fielder who can sit on the bench, and like, who cares about Miles Straw or anything? Like, he's won a Gold Glove a couple years ago. He's quick on the base paths, can't hit for nothing. But they get this $2 million, and that $2 million is going to be enough to sway Sasaki. Like, cool, way to use your resources here to go just pay that salary, but then also get it more money to sign Sasaki. But now that we sit here and have hindsight, we see that the Cleveland Guardians were the smart front office here, and they dumped $11.8 million onto Rodgers, onto the Blue Jays, and just said, hey, you pay this. You pay this. And there's no salary cap in Major League Baseball. But there's still a limit to the amount of money that these front offices want to pay for things. It's not unlimited funds unless you're the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Toronto Blue Jays got a budget. Ed Rodgers isn't emptying everything for them to just go willy-nilly. And I hope he sees this. I know he sees this. Not me talking. Not me talking. I hope Ed Rodgers, that this isn't channel, it probably isn't for you. I think you got other things to do than watch me. I hope he sees what Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro got tricked into doing. They got tricked through their desperate need to sign Sasaki into taking in that $11.8 million for nothing. Because that's what they end up doing. They take on a player that we don't really need. We need arms in the bullpen, a starting pitcher, and bats. And they got a fielder, a depth outfielder, when they already have one of the best defenses. They didn't need this guy, but they're so desperate to get something done because they have failed year after year after year. See how we're coming full circle now? Because the front office for the last 8 seasons has been chasing one single playoff victory, they have to go and be desperate in moves like trading for the $11.8 million to get the $2 million in national bonus money to try and sign Sasaki, because they're desperate for a player like Sasaki because they keep failing time after time after time after time. And that's where we sit right now, with a front office that keeps failing, that's getting embarrassed by the rest of the league, in an organization that keeps getting used, whether they're being used in the Ohtani negotiations to gain leverage on the Dodgers to drive up the price, or whether it's just to get more benefits in the contract, not in terms of like benefits in terms of perks is what I mean, like more things in the contract and more leeway for Ohtani. You know, you talk to the Jays and they're willing to give me this. Can you give me this? And then with the Juan Soto contract, Juan Soto was very particular about everything he wanted. He wanted his own press box. He wanted his own suite for his family and all of these things off the field. And then also all of this money. And now the Jays never got up to that money. But who knows if that price that the Jays were at, the Mets were also at, and then the Mets were like, let's go here. So they're getting used in this money, and then they're getting used as a shield in this Rōki Sasaki negotiation that clearly took place before the international window that they could talk. They're getting used in that way, and then they're getting used in the Pete Alonso negotiations with the Mets, where the Mets throw out, hey, we're going to trade for Vladdy because Pete Alonso doesn't have to deal with us, so we'll just go out and get Vladdy, and they're being used in that way. And the Jays front office is just so embarrassing in every single way. And I don't know where they go from here unless this season is just so outside of what we could all expect. Like, they are 100-win team, and we're like, where did this come from? Unless that happens, I don't know what's next for this team and this organization, because it's a disaster right now, and Vladdy remains unsigned. Now, we're going to talk about that every single second of the day until he's actually signed, and their franchise player might just walk in free agency. Who knows what happens with the future of Bo Bichette? This team it's trending downwards, and they're telling us they're trying to win the World Series. And they're in the middle of an 8-year stretch where they can't win a playoff game, and yet they are trying to win a World Series, and they can't sign anybody. They can't sign anybody that they intend to sign, and they're getting fooled into thinking that they're close time and time again because they have no idea what is actually going on. So that is it. If you like this video, hit like. If you like this channel, hit subscribe. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be watching or listening to this right now. I am done talking about Sasaki. He's a Dodger. Dodgers are the Monstars. I don't know. They keep doing it. They keep doing it. It's crazy. Yeah, that's it. Very down on this team. Not fun. Not great. Please do anything but what you are doing. Good night
And
from
that
Toronto.
is how it's done.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Jesse Blake, the guy that likes to hear his name twice in one sentence. Sure, I know him. No, he doesn't have an ego at all.